And I want to round out this story by telling you just how little has changed, even as it seems so much has changed, particularly in Tyler, Texas. Every January, the Tyler Chamber of Commerce, along with the Visitors Bureau, host an annual Earl Campbell banquet. It's on page 250 of Price's book. The event honors an outstanding offensive college football player with ties to Texas. Henry Bell, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, sweetly commissions little chocolate figurines depicting Earl in a full football regalia to give out to guests. The event is at the Willowbrook Country Club on the west side of town, only a mile or so from Tyler's Rose Garden and Museum. Founded in 1922, the club barred African Americans from membership. Sam Biscoe, who grew up black in Tyler, he and his mother, a maid like Ann Campbell, that's Earl's mom, made extra money on Rose Festival Day by selling cool drinks to onlookers. And he caddied in the summer at Willowbrook in the 1960s. It was said unthinkable for a black person to be a member then. You could have won the lottery and shown up there, and they'd call the police on you if you weren't there to cook or caddy. Today on the course, and in the dark wood paneled leather sofa clubhouse, virtually all the patrons are still white. Membership is by invitation only, requiring 3 letters by current members to, quote, vouch for the eligibility and acceptability of the candidate, end quote. If your daughter was Rose Festival Queen, there's a good chance you'll host her wedding reception poolside at Willowbrook. Earl always invites some athletes in his circle to make the annual trip to Tyler for the event. In January 2017, one of them was former NFL player and star University of Texas running back Ricky Williams. Nearly 2 decades earlier, in 1998, Williams had become the only Longhorn to win the Heisman Trophy other than Earl Campbell. Williams had gotten a ride that morning from Christian, Earl's son, into Tyler, and with a few hours to kill before the banquet, he decided to take a long walk in a residential neighborhood behind his South Tyler hotel. As he strolled back, a couple of cop cars pulled up. A dash cam video shows Williams being asked to put his hands behind his back. Things are taken from his pocket and put on the hood of the police car. He is frisked. When he asks evenly why he is being detained, he is told to calm down. It's a maddening video, partly because the cops are so patronizing, as they obviously profile him, and partly because what they are doing seems like such a humiliating violation of a person's dignity. The cops are white. As Williams, his hands spread on the dash, again questions why they are searching him, one policeman moves into a kind of defensive position behind him. It isn't hard to imagine that if Williams were less calm, an officer might have drawn a gun. Williams' zen-like poise, admirable in its way, also makes the whole thing sad. Do you know how many times I've been messed with by cops just for being black? Williams asks. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just sensitive to it. As long as everything is cool, go back to your hotel. We'll get out your face, a cop says. But they continue to encircle him. And when Williams protests again that he hasn't done anything, another cop says, "You're acting really defensive." Though they have found nothing, the police ask for his social security number and phone number. Almost 6 minutes into the interrogation, Williams reveals that he is in town for the Earl Campbell Tyler Rhodes Awards. "Football coach?" a cop asks. "You play football?" "I'm retired," Williams says, still not using his Heisman card. The officer asks him where he played. "The University of Texas," he tells him. The cops explained they were duty-bound to question him. One of the officers tells him, if you're staying at the hotel, makes sense what you're talking about. But if you're coming from North Tyler, that is the black part of town, you're not supposed to be here. The cop slaps him congenially on the shoulder as if to say, we're all on the same team here. The mayor of Tyler, Martin Hines, later said he phoned Williams. We both reached out to the other, and it was a very positive conversation, Hines said, according to the Tyler newspaper. We visited about the incident, and we came to the positive conclusion that he's very welcome in Tyler, Texas, and I hope I can spend some time with him when he does return. I even invited him to stay with my family when he's here. We have a guest room he's welcome to. But a Tyler police spokesman, Don Martin, stuck to the story that Williams had brought the incident on himself. Bottom line, if this person had not gone back into an area and acted in a suspicious manner the way he did then, this never would have happened, he said. Williams, interviewed by KLBJ radio about the episode when he got back to Austin, said that while he ended up putting it behind him and having a good time in Tyler, he still feels disrespected. A black guy walking during daytime in South Tyler is like spotting Bigfoot, cracked one of the radio hosts, Dale Dudley, who grew up in Tyler. The radio guys played something that sounded like a police radio. Calling all cars, black man, walking in Tyler. Williams said he was relieved that he had his driver's license on him. If I wasn't myself, I would have been in trouble, Williams said. If I couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt who I was. Back at the hotel that afternoon, he said, he started writing an angry tweet. But then he thought, Earl invited me here. This is Earl's town. I didn't want to make a to-do. Dudley, who is white and went to Robert E. Lee High, chimed in. That's the hypocrisy that's always been in that town. There's nothing at all about the lynchings all around there. There's no history the kids are taught. You are taught that the Rose Queen is gorgeous, even though she's paid for by her father. And it was this thing where if you run a football well, we love you. And we'll put you all over the city, and you're the king, which Earl is. And God bless Earl, and I've got nothing but positive things to say about Earl. But the people who championed Earl, that was because he did that on the football field, and he got that kind of attention. My father was so afraid for me to go to Stewart Junior High, which was predominantly black, that we lied about where we lived so I could go to Hubbard Junior High. And that stuff has lingered. I did a high school reunion, and I'm always trying to prove to people I did well. So the reunion was on a Saturday night, and I decided to host a party on Friday night. And I get a call from someone I don't even know, a friend of one of the people I invited, and he says, hey man, you don't want to do that in that bar. That's where all the ends go. I'm looking at the cell phone going, did I just hear that in normal conversation? I'm not even talking to a friend. It's a long history of the way that it goes. And it sounds like it's in the police department also. Hey, see a black guy in South Tyler, stop him. See what he's up to. There was a final story that I wanted to relate, which had more to do with how the folks at Tyler have not much changed and how those scars stay forever. And I waffled on whether or not I need to tell you, but I do think I need to tell you this story. I do think you need to know this story. Because these wounds, this history, is still very much alive. And it threatens to repeat itself if we are not being diligent in teaching it. Can't put it away. It's not a bill you get to drop into a drawer because guess what? Bill comes due. the bill comes due. So I think this is going to be our last story for this particular lecture. It's worthwhile. All right. This is page 248 of Price's book. In town in North Tyler, where Confederate Avenue crosses Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Wow. An empty field sits behind a chain link fence. Once there was a grand three-story building there, the old all-black Emmett Scott High School, which was closed in 1970 as part of desegregation and its order. Earl Campbell would have gone to Emmett Scott, like his brothers, if not for William Wayne Justice's desegregation order. The black kids who went to Emmett Scott still hold it, and their long-dead teachers in high regard. They organize annual reunions. 2020 marks the last of the Emmett Scott's 50th reunions. As for the 50th reunion of Robert E. Lee Red Raiders, class of 1974, Betty Mitchell, who is Campbell's age and was one of the black pioneers at John Tyler High's crosstown rival, won't be attending. She tells a story about running into a white classmate in the early 90s, ahead of the 20th reunion. In high school, we were a non-entity, but he was one of a handful of whites that showed any kind of kindness to me in high school. He asked whether she was going to the upcoming reunion, and she told him she wouldn't pay to go to an event for a group in which she felt second class. She still remembered that at the senior prom, the organizers had refused to play any music that the black kids liked. But after much coaxing and his offer to buy her ticket, she said she would go, just to see whether it would be any different. At the reunion, he insisted on buying her a raffle ticket. I said, no, and he said, it's yours. Sure enough, when they called the tickets out, she had won a prize. They had talked about the prize before the number was called, and I was sitting back and the lights were dim, and I couldn't really tell what it was. When they called my name, I raised my arm. I've won. The crowd was speechless. You could hear a pin drop, and I was thinking, what is that about? What had I won but a picture, as large as a fireplace, of General Robert E. Lee, carrying a rebel flag and a black slave carrying his things behind him. A hush went over the audience. I thought, the more things change, the more they remain the same. So they started offering it to buy it off of me. I thought, this is what I want, I'll take it, I'll throw darts at it. I mean, it was the prized possession of the night. After the offers got up to $800, I let him have it. That was the last class reunion I went to. Hope this was worth your time. It's not as much fun for me as you might think. And as we talk about Black history, one of the harsh truths of it is you find out how much fun it ain't. So share this with whomever you think needs to hear it. And when I feel up to it again, we'll do another lecture. All right. That's it for me. Deuces.